Tonight, Whyalla Council begins to offer staff counselling in the wake of brutal social media attacks, and a local gift card program helping to bring more customers through the doors of Broken Hill businesses.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. Whyalla Council has resorted to offering counselling for elected members and staff in the wake of social media attacks. The Mayor says day-to-day operations are being compromised while staff are being left traumatised.
It's no secret the last 18 months have been a dark time for Whyalla Council. Accusations of corruption and bullying claims have been peddled on social media, with elected members and staff subjected to venomous attacks. Mayor Lynn Brewer says the abuse is taking its toll.
It's just been horrendous to see. It's impacted on all our councillors. There's a number of us that have really, suffered through all of this, stayed strong, but it's been very difficult.
Council passed a motion at its last meeting to give councillors and staff access to an employee assistance program. It'll provide round-the-clock support for those struggling in the workplace.
A service that's set up when a situation gets to a point where they need some help and need some assistance.
Mayor Brewer says the attacks were having an effect on council's operations.
They're finding it difficult to operate. It's impacting on their families also and on their health.
Mayor Brewer has also called for a social media truce, urging people to put down their keyboards. While she accepts that criticism comes with the job, she says the attacks have crossed a line, especially with Whyalla heading into a positive new era.
We've got everything going for us in Whyalla. We don't need this nonsense going on. It's got to stop, and that's what we're determined to do.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Police are investigating a brazen break-in and assault in Port Lincoln. Officers say at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, 3 men described to be of Aboriginal appearance confronted a man and a woman at a home on Brockworth Road. One of the men struck the occupant in the head with a bottle before the trio made off with a wallet and a car, a silver Holden Commodore Berliner. The victim was taken to hospital for treatment. Anyone who spots the car is asked to contact police. The policing area surrounding Broken Hill is about to grow significantly in size. Officers say it'll boost coverage and engagement with the community.
From Sunday onwards, the Barrier Local Area Command will become the Barrier Police District. Commands across all of New South Wales have been going through a re-engineering process, and Barrier was the last on the list.
And it's about engaging with our community, working with our communities right across this fairly vast area. Tackling crime, making our place, our areas, our houses, our communities safer.
34 local commands have been transformed into 26 police districts. The Barrier District will cover about 25% of the state, picking up 2 more police stations. 3 officer-in-charge inspectors will be stationed at Wilcannia, Dareton and in Broken Hill.
We actually now take in the Balranald local government area, with the additional police stations of Balranald and Euston.
The restructure was announced in November last year in a bid to improve response times. While it's a lot more ground to cover, officers say there'll be plenty of support.
We've got additional resources at Dubbo, in our DV high risk offender team, our regional enforcement group, and they're all resources available to us to bring out.
It'll also mean closer relations with patrols over the border.
Picking up a bit more of the Victorian border down as far as Swan Hill. We're making those steps as we speak.
Patrick Roinke, Southern Cross News.
An expo to showcase the latest and greatest in farming has paid the Mid-North a visit. The SPA event focused on farmers learning from one another with input from industry experts to boost agriculture production in the region.
Guiding farmers to success. Experts from every corner of the country descended on Crystal Brook today to learn the very latest.
Quite a range of industries, horticulture, grains, cotton and livestock as well, but the main focus in the Mid-North would be the grains industry.
Over 100 farmers took part, with many locals sharing their expertise into producing crops. Many are looking into the future.
The talks will be around data sharing, different technology that you can implement on farm that may involve machinery, displays, GPS, along with different controllers.
Increase our output on the farm and reduce some of our costs.
One technology that had chins wagging was this new 3000H grain analyzer. It examines the amount of protein, moisture and canola oil in any given crop, giving farmers real-time control of blending options during harvest. It'll also potentially save costs by allowing control over the amount of premium grain being harvested.
Historical data, and can give you a very highly accurate moisture that is comparable to the grain silos.
And from farmer to farmer, a few basic tips as well.
You match up your implements like your seeder, harvester, sprayer, spreader to be all on the same wheel tracks, so that you're not just putting random wheel tracks all over your paddocks.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
After the break on Southern Cross News, a push by the Whyalla Chamber of Commerce for local businesses to get involved on a defence expansion in Coltana. Plus, how a solar construction company is looking to tackle dust and glare issues at a proposed facility near Port Augusta. Those stories next. Whyalla businesses need to get out of their comfort zones and pursue new opportunities, according to the town's Chamber of Commerce. It says defence contractors managing the Coltana expansion are on the lookout for enthusiastic operators wanting a fair share of the work.
Coltana is on the up, with the Defence Department splashing the cash to get it there. Whyalla's peak business body says managing contractors are looking to give local businesses a share of the work.
Provided a list of trades, finishing trades as they would call that. The Chamber in turn has engaged with a number of local businesses and trades.
12 different local industries were represented at a recent meeting between the Chamber and the contractor. It's looking for a number of different heavy industry trades, an area Whyalla is no stranger to.
It's about trying to maximise the opportunities and getting people to think of ways how they can be part of it.
But it all comes back to breaking out of the traditional mould. For half a century, businesses have been propped up by the steelworks providing a majority of the work.
It's about time that people looked outside the box, try to think on ways of how they could manage these so that they're maximising their business opportunities.
Mr Hayes says the Chamber doesn't want businesses which don't tender to be the first to complain.
And then making commentary about the fact that outside businesses have then been brought into this community to fulfil obligations.
For more details, head to our Facebook page. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Just days after the Liberals claimed the state election, Stephen Marshall has outlined his plan to improve South Australia. Rate capping and establishing a regional roads and infrastructure fund are just some of the measures to affect our centres. Amelia Simpson explains.
Just days after claiming victory, the Marshall Liberal government is chomping at the bit to bring in change. The newly sworn-in Premier says he'll bring in his promised fund for regional roads in his first 3 months. 30% of the state government's revenue from mining and petroleum royalties will make up the funding stream, with most of the revenue from these industries stemming from regional areas the Libs say they'll give back to this vital infrastructure. It's estimated to amount to $750 million over the next 10 years. Part of this are plans to slash Labor's cost-saving speed limit reductions. Instead, it says it will use this fund to upgrade regional roads. Council rate capping is also on Marshall's first 100-day plan, a scheme to be implemented by an independent regulator. The body will determine a rate cap on a region-by-region basis with the promise of taking pressure off of families and stopping what they're labelling as cost-shifting to councils by the former Labor government. The Libs also plan to axe payroll tax for small businesses, which will feature in this year's budget, so small businesses in our region can expect to benefit from the start of next year. While Stephen Marshall became Premier on Monday, his full cabinet is set to be sworn in tomorrow. Time will tell if the Liberal Marshall government can deliver on these promises for the region in the next 100 days.
A solar production company is going public on how to tackle dust and glare issues at a facility proposed for land near Port Augusta. SSE is calling on the community to get involved at a consultation session next week.
After ongoing issues with dust in Port Augusta, the last thing residents want is more. Come Monday next week, Stirling North solar developer SSE plans to listen to residents' concerns.
Dust is one of the biggest issues that's been raised on our proposal. So what we're hoping to do is explain to the residents that, first of all, we're building a much, much smaller project.
SSE has submitted a development application to the Port Augusta Council to develop a 5 megawatt solar farm on Spear Creek Road.
We've had some initial feedback. We've revised what we're doing a little, and now we want some further feedback from people.
Some residents less than 100 metres away have voiced their worries about potential glare from the site.
Native plants, so basically a hedge around the site to reduce any direct visual impact from the site.
SSE says it will be on the Spear Creek Road site on Monday night.
So people can have a look, see where it is, and we can give some ideas about where we're going to locate it, get some feedback from people, and if they say, look, they'd prefer it a little further back, or could we do certain things to improve the way that it's going to look.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, we meet a young Chinese family now calling the Mid-North home as the nation celebrates Harmony Day, plus how a gift card program is helping a business boom in Broken Hill. That's next. A new local gift card program in Broken Hill is leading to a business boom in the town. The initiative has been welcomed by many operators in the Silver City, which say keeping business in the district is the key.
Giving a gift to the local economy.
We've been really excited about how well it's been received by the community and the rest of the region.
More and more of the Far West gift cards are finding their way into shop fronts across Broken Hill.
And we're working with local businesses to develop their workforce, which in turn develops career pathways for our people and further opportunities. So this holistic positive sense around our region, and how we achieve that is by implementing projects. So the Far West Gift Card project is one of them.
The program works by offering customers a hyper-local gift card, which can be used at 85 participating stores around town. Since launching late last year, businesses say the response has been fantastic.
Exactly. Anything that can get people to shop local is got to be a good thing for us. I mean, a lot of things have gone on lately which is not good for the town, so anything we can do to keep the money in town is got to be good.
It actually supports local businesses and keeps the money local, which helps retain and grow more job opportunities for Broken Hill, which is only a good thing for everybody.
The next step is to get more places on board.
Looking to expand to places like Menindee, Tibooburra, etc. We have a redemption business in Silverton at the Silverton Hotel, so that's exciting, and we'll look to expand moving forward.
More details are on our Facebook page. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, today marks Harmony Day in Australia, where we mark the nation's diversity and multiculturalism. Tonight we meet the Sun family, who emigrated from China to the Mid-North in hopes of finding a better lifestyle for their children.
From the busy streets of Beijing to the wide open pastures of Gladstone. The Sun family are Chinese immigrants who made the move to Australia after the pressure from society became unbearable.
We have more people there in Beijing, so the pressure bigger, and the children learn a lot.
Gladstone was the perfect place for them to begin their new life.
I think the quiet, like the quiet little town or the small towns are very good for the little ones like my daughter and Lucas to grow up.
It was easy for them to communicate and get involved in the community with a family friend living not too far away. The move wasn't without its challenges though. 5-year-old Lucas didn't know a word of English when they first arrived. He's now fluent in 2 languages, with the family speaking Mandarin at home.
First day he speak no English at all. Now he's pick up a lot of English, and I think his accent is perfect.
I love going to school in Gladstone.
After they made this big move, the family decided to buy the Gladstone Post Office, giving Sunny the opportunity to practice her English on a daily basis, while her husband put his engineering skills to work. And they say there's no other place in the world they'd rather call home.
Very peaceful, lovely little town, and people are so nice and we feel welcomed.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Time now for Fuel Watch. Here's Pat.
It's been a good week at the Bowsers, with the majority of petrol prices on the way down. Starting with unleaded, and Port Lincoln is the first to see green, but still hovers around $1.38. Whyalla and Port Augusta have both enjoyed a week of no movement, while Port Pirie is almost under $1.32. Kadina has dropped by a cent, and Broken Hill is also down by a cent. Adelaide is still performing well. Its price is down by almost 7 cents and currently sits in the high teens. To diesel now, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. Port Lincoln is one of the rare ones to see red, with the price back up to $1.38. Whyalla is the same price, while Port Augusta is a cent dearer. Both Port Pirie and Kadina are down to $1.35, while here in the Silver City, we're edging closer and closer to paying $1.40. Adelaide motorists are still paying the cheapest prices for diesel. Their average is around $1.29. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page.
Stay with us. After the break, we'll have all the local weather details with Amy Stevenson. And Amy, will the warm days be hanging around the Gulf?
Indeed it will, Fraser. However, the Spencer Gulf is set to see a wet and windy change after a warm weekend. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. The warmer temperatures continued for most parts today. 29 the top in Port Augusta, 25 in Whyalla, but it was a cooler 22 in Port Lincoln. Meanwhile, temperatures hovered in the mid to high 20s in all other centres. Checking the satellite and cloudy skies around the southeast, however, it's staying dry. A high pressure system is continuing to keep skies clear elsewhere. If you're planning to spend some time on the water tomorrow, there will be southerly winds shifting southeasterly up to 15 knots. Seas will reach 2.5 metres and the sun will pop up at 7:23. Taking a look at tomorrow's weather, and the warmer temperatures will hang around, with Port Augusta expecting a top of 33. Port Lincoln will reach 27, 29 in Whyalla. Meanwhile, temperatures will continue to range in the high 20s to low 30s in all other districts. Looking towards the weekend, and temperatures in Port Lincoln will hover in the high 20s before a wet and windy change on Sunday and 21. Similar rainy and cooler conditions on the way in Cleve and Woodner on Sunday also. Further up the Gulf and Whyalla will see some rain on Sunday as well, and a top of 23. Port Augusta can expect a hot 37 on Saturday before cooling down to 26 on Sunday. Meanwhile, temperatures in Kadina will hover in the low 30s early on the weekend before a wet and windy Sunday and 23. Warmer temperatures to continue in Port Pirie before showers and 25 on Sunday. Clare can expect tops in the 30s before a wet and windy Sunday. Meanwhile, Broken Hill can expect a top of 30 to close out the weekend. So Fraser, temperatures continue to creep up again around the Spencer Gulf. However, that wet and windy change will come through towards the end of the weekend.
Autumn weather is in full swing. Thanks, Amy. A look at tonight's top stories now. Whyalla councillors resorted to offering counselling for elected members and staff in the wake of social media attacks. The Mayor says day-to-day operations are being compromised while staff are being left traumatised. Police are investigating a brazen break-in and assault in Port Lincoln. Officers say at 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, 3 men described to be of Aboriginal appearance confronted a man and a woman at a home on Brockworth Road. And an expo to showcase the latest and greatest in farming has paid the Mid-North a visit. The SPA event focused on farmers learning from one another with input from industry experts to boost agriculture production in the region. And that's the local news for this Wednesday. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.